First contact and misjudgment. The Valerian Alliance had conquered 17 star systems before encountering humans. Their fleet commanders boasted perfect tactical records. Their diplomats calculated probabilities of resistance down to the 6th decimal, and their scientists categorized newly discovered species with clinical precision. Humanity, according to their initial reports, registered as technologically adolescent, culturally fragmented, and strategically negligible. Commander Zix, veteran of the Procyon campaign, reviewed these assessments with practiced indifference as the Alliance's flagship, the Celestial Dominance, entered Earth's solar system. Another primitive species to document. Zix said to First Officer Ilex, their silver-scaled skin reflecting the holographic displays of Earth. The Council wants a thorough analysis before we decide whether to incorporate or bypass. Ilex's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture indicating mild interest. Their communications traffic suggests they've detected our probe ships. Their military assets are mobilizing, but in a disorganized fashion. As expected, Zix replied. Prepare the diplomatic corps. Standard first contact protocols. The Valerians had refined their approach over centuries. Send overwhelming force to demonstrate superiority. Offer terms of incorporation that preserved basic autonomy while extracting resources and technology. And move on. It was efficient, minimally destructive, and had worked flawlessly across the galaxy. Until Earth. The diplomatic shuttle departed with 12 of the Alliance's finest negotiators, including senior diplomat Vrel, a veteran of 27 successful incorporations. Their mission brief was simple. Demonstrate Alliance power, explain the benefits of submission, and return with Earth's agreement to preliminary terms. The shuttle never returned. Impossible. Zix muttered when the communication blackout reached 6 hours. Scan for debris. No debris detected, the sensor officer reported, but we're receiving a transmission from the planet. The main view screen activated to show a human, small, soft-featured, lacking both the Valerians' height and their natural armor. Behind the human stood the diplomatic team, unharmed but clearly detained. This is General Elena Santiago of Earth's United Defense Force, the human said. Your representatives entered our airspace without permission and refused to power down weapon systems when instructed. They are being detained pending clarification of your intentions. We are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. Zix's jaw ridges flared in surprise. No species had ever detained Alliance diplomats. Their psychological profiles showed a clear pattern. Pre-spacefaring species invariably submitted when faced with superior technology. Commence tactical assessment, Zix ordered. The results contradicted everything the Alliance knew about emerging civilizations. Earth's defenses were a patchwork of technologies, some surprisingly advanced, others practically ancient, but they were deployed in patterns that defied Alliance military doctrine. Instead of centralized command structures, Earth's militaries operated in adaptive networks. Instead of uniform training, they celebrated specialized combat techniques from hundreds of cultural traditions. They're savages with starships, Intelligence Officer Mrev concluded. Their military history is nothing but bloodshed. They fought thousands of wars among themselves before achieving spaceflight. Then they'll understand force, Zix decided. Prepare a measured response. Target their orbital defenses only. The Alliance strike was precise, elegant, and by Alliance standards, restrained. 20 orbital platforms neutralized in less than an hour. Earth's response was none of these things. Alliance tactical doctrine called for enemies to protect vital infrastructure and population centers. Humans abandoned these to strike directly at Alliance command vessels. Alliance combat simulations predicted coordinated, hierarchical resistance. Humans attacked in seemingly chaotic patterns that somehow anticipated Alliance maneuvers. Alliance weapons targeted military assets. Humans sacrificed defensive positions to land devastating counterattacks. They're not fighting like a civilization. Ilex said, disbelief evident as the tactical display showed another Alliance cruiser taking critical damage. They're fighting like cornered animals. After 18 hours, with 3 Alliance vessels crippled and Earth's defenses significantly degraded, both sides withdrew to regroup. The diplomatic team remained in human custody. "I don't understand," Zix admitted in the privacy of their command chamber. "Our cultural databases indicate humans value life above all else. Their literature, their religions, their laws, all emphasize the sanctity of existence. Yet they fight with complete disregard for self-preservation. Perhaps the databases are flawed," suggested Mrev. "Or perhaps we are missing something fundamental about them," Zix replied. "Prepare a direct communication channel. I wish to speak with this General Santiago." The human general appeared on screen, looking exhausted but resolute. Behind her, Zix could see humans tending to wounded comrades. "Your military response was impressive, if futile," Zix began. "The Alliance has never encountered such unconventional tactics." "We've been killing each other for thousands of years," Santiago replied bluntly. "We've gotten good at it, but that doesn't mean we enjoy it. Then why resist incorporation? The Alliance offers technological advancement, protection, cultural preservation." Santiago's laugh contained no humor. "You entered our system unannounced, demanded our submission, and attacked when we refused. That's not an offer, it's an invasion." "It is the natural order," Zix insisted. "Advanced civilizations guide developing ones. We prefer to guide ourselves." The conversation continued for hours, with neither side yielding ground. Yet Zix found themselves increasingly fascinated by the human perspective. Unlike other species, humans seem to value independence above security, possibility above certainty. "Your diplomatic team will be returned unharmed," Santiago finally said. "But there will be no incorporation. Either recognize Earth as a sovereign power or prepare for a war unlike any your Alliance has faced." After the communication ended, Zix studied Earth transmissions for 3 days. Their music, their stories, their histories. The contradiction remained, a species capable of both tremendous violence and profound empathy. They fought like predators but created art that celebrated peace. They killed efficiently yet maintained ethical codes about warfare that sometimes handicap their tactical advantage. "We should send a ground expedition," Zix finally decided. "I want to observe humans directly. Something in our understanding is missing." The Council authorized a limited mission: 1 ship, 1 landing party, strict observation protocols. The site selected was a remote military outpost, recently damaged in the orbital engagement. What happened next would change the Valerian Alliance forever. The landing party, led by Cultural Assessment Officer Trell, approached under stealth technology. They expected to observe human military recovery operations, document their findings, and return without engagement. Instead, they witnessed a diplomatic delegation from Earth approaching the same facility, led by none other than General Santiago herself. "She's walking into a trap," Trell reported urgently. "Our scans show at least 30 armed humans concealed in the complex. They're not wearing standard Earth military identifiers." Zix faced an unexpected ethical dilemma. Alliance protocols were clear: non-interference in internal conflicts during assessment phase. But the human who had shown respect for Alliance diplomats was about to be ambushed. "Override protocols," Zix ordered. "Alert the human commander." The decision changed everything. The warning allowed Santiago to uncover a splinter faction attempting to sabotage peace talks. The Alliance landing party revealed themselves to assist, and for the first time, humans and Valerians fought side by side rather than against each other. In the aftermath, as both parties tended to their wounded, Zix received an emergency transmission from orbit. Alliance long-range sensors had detected something approaching the solar system, something vast and unlike anything in Alliance records. "We're receiving a message," Communications Officer Drull reported, voice unusually tight. "It's in an ancient dialect, but translatable." The message was simple: all life is fuel. Resistance is wasteful. Humanity and the Alliance now faced something neither had encountered before, and understanding between them had never been more vital. Understanding and revelation. The damaged Alliance shuttle limped back to the celestial dominance, carrying both Valyrian officers and human military personnel. Among them was General Santiago, clutching a bleeding wound in her side. The joint force had suffered casualties, 4 humans and 2 Valyrians dead, with many more injured. As medical teams rushed to treat the wounded without discrimination of species, Commander Zix watched with growing fascination. "Your medic treated Officer Trell before attending to your own soldiers," Zix observed, mandibles clicking in the Valyrian expression of confusion. Santiago winced as a medic applied pressure to her wound. Triage isn't based on uniform or species. It's based on who needs help most urgently. This concept, prioritizing need over allegiance, contradicted everything in Valyrian tactical doctrine. Zix had much to consider, but a greater threat loomed. Long-range scans confirmed the approaching entity was massive, with energy signatures unlike anything in Alliance databases. "We're calling it the Void Collective," Santiago explained during the emergency council formed between human and Valyrian leaders. "We detected traces of it 3 years ago. Strange energy patterns consuming remote outposts. Everything organic, everything with complex molecular structures, just gone." Intelligence Officer Mrev displayed fragmented data recovered from both human and Alliance reconnaissance. "It appears to be a composite entity, part organic, part technological, and entirely predatory. It consumes biomass and converts it to energy. A cosmic apex predator," one human scientist suggested. "And we've both been too busy fighting each other to notice we were being hunted," Santiago added grimly. Initial projections gave them 8 days before the collective reached the solar system. Alliance protocol called for immediate withdrawal and quarantine of the affected region, standard procedure for uncontainable threats. "We're evacuating all personnel," Zix informed Santiago. "Alliance doctrine is clear about extinction-level threats." The humans' response was unexpected. "We can't evacuate 8 billion people in 8 days. We're going to fight. Fight. The collective is beyond either of our technological capabilities." "Maybe alone," Santiago agreed, "but not together." What followed was unprecedented in Alliance history. Instead of retreating, the celestial dominance became command center for a joint defense operation. Human scientists worked alongside Valyrian engineers, combining technologies and approaches neither would have considered independently. During a rare moment of respite, Zix found Santiago in the ship's observation deck, staring at the blue-green planet below. "Why do you resist evacuation?" Zix asked. "The Alliance could preserve a genetic sample, maintain your cultural records. Your species would continue, even if Earth falls." Santiago smiled sadly. "That's not survival, Commander. Humanity isn't just our DNA or our artifacts. It's our connections to each other, to our home. It's worth fighting for, even against impossible odds. Even knowing you may fail. Especially then. Sometimes the fight matters more than the outcome." Before Zix could respond, the alert sounded. A collective scout vessel had been detected entering the system, ahead of the main force. The joint human-Valyrian strike team deployed immediately. Alliance vessels provided advanced shielding, while Earth's ships delivered experimental weapons designed in the previous days. The engagement was brief but revealing. The collective scout, though damaged, transmitted vast amounts of data before self-destructing. "It was studying us," Mrev reported, "cataloging our defenses, our biology, our technology. Like a predator sizing up its prey," Santiago added. "The loss did nothing to diminish human resolve. If anything, their determination intensified." Zix observed as humans worked beyond exhaustion, innovating solutions that Alliance engineers deemed impossible. Then came the unexpected turning point. One of the Alliance vessels, separated from the defense fleet, encountered the advancing edge of the collective. The ship was lost with all hands, 68 Valyrian crew members, When news reached the celestial dominance, the human response was not what Zix anticipated. They mourned, not with the restrained acknowledgement customary in Valyrian tradition, but with genuine grief. A human chaplain conducted a ceremony for the fallen Valyrians, though they had been enemies mere days before. These brave souls gave everything to protect life itself, the chaplain intoned. Though their bodies were not born of earth, their sacrifice makes them our brothers and sisters. Zix watched in stunned silence as humans placed symbolic tokens, flowers, handwritten notes, personal items, at an improvised memorial. One young engineer placed a small hologram of his family next to the names of the fallen Valyrians. Why? Zix finally asked Santiago. They were not your people. They fought alongside us. That makes them our people, she replied simply. Life recognizes life, Commander. Beneath our differences, we all share the same fundamental miracle, existence itself. This perspective catalyzed something in the Valyrian understanding. For centuries, the Alliance had categorized species by technological advancement, cultural complexity, strategic value. They had never considered the simple, profound commonality, a shared experience of being alive. With 3 days remaining before the collective's arrival, the Joint Force made a critical discovery. The collective communicated through quantum-entangled particles, a technology the Alliance had explored but never weaponized. Human theoretical physicists proposed a radical solution, using entanglement to transmit a disruptive signal directly into the collective's communication network. It's a virus, explained Dr. Rice, the lead human physicist. Not biological, but informational. It creates a recursive loop in their quantum communications. And what will that accomplish? Zix asked. If it works, confusion, disorientation, maybe even internal conflict within the hive mind. The plan required direct delivery, a suicide mission to the heart of the approaching collective. Alliance tactical assessments calculated a 0.87% survival probability. 12 humans and 8 Valyrians volunteered immediately. I don't understand, Zix confessed to Santiago. The statistical probability of success is negligible. Humans have never let statistics determine our actions, she replied. Throughout our history, our greatest achievements came from attempts that seemed impossible. The mission launched with 20 volunteers carrying the quantum disruptor, a device merging Valyrian entanglement technology with human cryptographic algorithms. As they departed, something unprecedented occurred on the celestial dominance. Valyrian crew members adopted a human custom, lining the launch bay and standing at attention as the volunteers departed. One day before the collective's arrival, contact with the mission was lost. Preparations for final defense continued, but a palpable shift had occurred among the Valyrians. They no longer viewed humans as primitive or savage. They saw them as different, yes, but also as equals in the face of extinction. Then, miracle of miracles, the quantum disruptor activated. Long-range sensors detected massive energy fluctuations throughout the collective. The entity's cohesive approach fractured, components separating and moving erratically. It's working, Rev reported, disbelief evident. The collective is losing cohesion. The joint fleet launched immediately, targeting the now vulnerable segments. What followed was not a battle but a rout. Without its unified intelligence, the collective could not adapt to the combined human-Valyrian assault. 3 days later, as cleanup operations continued, a single escape pod was detected drifting near Saturn. Inside were 2 survivors, 1 human, 1 Valyrian, both barely alive but clutching the quantum disruptor core. In the aftermath, as Earth began rebuilding and the Alliance reassessed its fundamental doctrines, Zix stood again with Santiago on the observation deck. The Alliance Council has proposed a new designation for humanity, Zix said, not as subjects for incorporation, but as equal partners in the interstellar community. Santiago smiled. And what changed their minds? Our technology, our military tactics. No, Zix replied, mandibles forming the Valyrian expression closest to a human smile. It was watching you bury our dead with honor. It was seeing you fight for a home you refuse to abandon. It was understanding that true civilization isn't measured by technological advancement, but by the capacity to recognize the value of all life. The alliance formed that day would transform both species. Humans brought creativity, adaptability, and fierce compassion to the interstellar community. Valyrians contributed stability, technological precision, and institutional memory. Together, they created something neither could have achieved alone. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, the remains of the collective drifted. A reminder that the universe contained predators, yes, but also something far more powerful. Species who recognize themselves in each other, even across the gulf of evolutionary divergence. They had called humans savages until they watched them mourn enemies and fight for strangers. In doing so, the Valyrians discovered something about themselves as well, that the clinical precision of their empire had come at the cost of the very connections that made survival meaningful. In humanity's apparent weakness, they found their greatest strength. I hope you enjoyed this original HFY sci-fi story about humanity's unexpected qualities from an alien perspective. The story emphasizes our compassion, determination, and ability to forge connections, even with those who were once our enemies.